Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Emilee McBride, and today I'm going to be going over all the books that I read in December of 2022. Let's get the books. Okay, now I have all the books that I've read in December of 2022. I don't know if these were the first. You know what? These are not going to be in order because I honestly cannot remember. But the only series that I read in December was the Shatter Me series, and there's somebody walking. Oh, this looks awkward. Okay. So I read the Shatter Me series, and I honestly did not know what to think of this. I knew that lots of people loved this series, and I knew that they loved Aaron Warner, so I was like, okay, you can do it. I flew through the books, read them all in the month of December. Just these. I didn't get the novellas. I got the last one, Believe Me, but that's for my January TBR, and I'll talk about that then. But this really is it's a good series, and I'm glad that I read it. There were some slow parts to it, and there were some characters that just kind of like fell flat, I feel like, or were very stereotypical. But then there were some like Aaron and Kenji, and I just, they really helped move the story along. I suggest that you read these. I would recommend them. I gave them all about like a 3 to 4 stars, which is really good for me. So this is definitely like a 3.5 to 4 star series. So you should read these if you haven't. Okay, we'll stay in the realm of fantasy. Is that fantasy? It's kind of like, that was dystopian. Kind of like, I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I've never read the Harry Potter series before. I'm 20 years old, and I'm finally cracking down and trying to do it. These books, they're very well written. The world building is amazing, but I did not grow up with Harry Potter. So I'm finding a very hard time to relate to these characters, these very young characters. And it feels like I know it is a story, but I feel like I'm reading a very long children's book. It's kind of hard. I feel like I have to push through the Harry Potter books. I liked this one. I'm trying to work on the third one. It's hard to read, I'm gonna be honest. So I don't know if they are good, but I guess my interest is just not peaked yet. So still working on that. So Brady, come here. Let's talk about one of my favorite reads that I read in December was Gentle and Lowly. So this book is written from the perspective of the heart of Christ for sinners and sufferers, it says. I just went through this book, and it's very annotated and highlighted, and I've just written in it, and I would totally read this book again. I suggest that you read this book. It talks about Christ's heart and how he deals with us gently and how he can sympathize with us. I learned about how Christ is our advocate, and it's so good, and there's so much to it. You just need to read it if you haven't. It's talked about so much for a reason. So another Christian book that I read is called the Screwtape Letters. This was a very good read. This is written by C.S. Lewis, and I've been wanting to read the Screwtape Letters for a very long time, but I just never got my hands on the copy, but I finally got it. It's told from the perspective of a demon, and his demon nephew is tempting a human man, and so he's trying to write advice to his demon nephew and tell him how to tempt him or how humans fall short. It's really interesting because C.S. Lewis is basically writing from the perspective of the enemy, but even the enemy, the way he words it, it shows how great God is and how merciful he is. And it really is kind of funny because it does talk about how weak humans are, but God deals so gently with us. So it was really encouraging, and it just made me really thankful. So I did highlight a lot of this book and write down my thoughts. So you should definitely read the Screwtape Letters if you haven't already. That's Rudy scratching himself. Okay, another read from December was Confess by Colleen Hoover. I did not like this book. Rudy? I did not like this book. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. The characters bothered me, and they were put in situations that I did not like, and the characters made certain choices that I just felt like I totally disagreed with. Oh, it bothers me to think about. So it's about this girl, Auburn. I love the name. But she's just had a rough life. She moved to a new city, and she's just she needs a job, and she's just struggling, and then she comes across an art gallery, and they're like, the guy there, he's like, hey, I just need to hire someone. I have a gallery tonight, and I need someone to help me to help sell the art. She's like, okay, perfect, this job, he's paying her a lot to do this. It's like he's paying me a lot to do this job, and it's just like one night, and it's amazing, and then she gets to know him, and his art is about confessions. So people would write anonymous confessions and put it in this box, and he would take inspiration from the confession and paint his interpretation of it. And that's why it's called Confess. And so that was a cool aspect, and there's pictures of the artwork in the book. I just did not like this book. So, yeah. Sorry. No. So many things bothered me. I got mad so many times while reading this. I did not want to finish it. And this is like the tipping point, I felt like, with me for Colleen Hoover. There was one more Colleen Hoover book that I read after this. There's like a cooler blowing down the road. Colleen Hoover, I liked her when I first started reading because she's easy to read, and you feel like kind of sucked in the story. I don't know. Not that the writing was bad, I didn't like the story. So, no, it's a no for me. All right, a romance that I did like reading in December was The Love Hypothesis. And what is really interesting is that I've had this book for a very long time. I picked it up and I started it, and I don't know if it was like the cooler. Oh, it's still going. A car just hit it. I picked this up a very long time ago. I started it, and I don't know if I was like intimidated by the science aspect of it, which sounds really stupid, but I was like, if this is like schoolwork to read, then I don't want to read it. No, it's not. But well, it's a fake dating trope. And it's about a PhD student. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to mess this up, but her name's Olive, and her friend is, I'm pretty sure her friend is dating her ex-boyfriend, and she's not really that bothered by it. She's like, I moved on, it's fine. But her friend's like, are you okay with this? You need to be dating someone else. You need to like, she's trying to push her friend, and she's tired of being pushed, so she's like, oh, I'm dating someone, don't worry about it. And so she sees her friend coming, and she's like, oh crap, you know, she's like, I'm lying to her, and so what do I have to do? I have to kiss the closest person next to me, and that is Adam Carlson, and I'm like, he's a professor? Is he a professor? Yes, he's a professor at the college, and so yeah, so she's like, look, we need to fake date for a little while. Would you mind? And he's like, actually, I don't mind at all, because he wants to work at the college, and he needs more funds for the research that he's doing, but the college is worried that he's not very committed, and he believes that if he has a girlfriend and he looks like he's putting down roots, then they'll be like, oh, this guy's committed. So it kind of works out in their favor. But lots of stuff happens in this book. It was good. There was some stuff in here that I definitely could have done without, some spice. I don't like to read about that, but cause it was like 2 chapters, so that was the only drawback for me, and I'm pretty sure there was some language in this book. I feel bad I didn't mention any other language in the Shatter Me series, but I'm all over the place. This is a good story. It's just, if you don't want to read spice, then you're gonna have to skip a few chapters. Yeah. But this was a very good book. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So, yeah. Okay, a book that I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know, I didn't think that I would give it a 5 out of 5 stars. And it's one of the shortest reads that I've ever had. Rudy, he's crying. Is Call of the Wild. I got this book off of thrift books because it was just so pretty. Hey, you crying? I got it off of thrift books just because it was so pretty and it was affordable, and I knew I wanted to read it, but I didn't get to it for a very long time. And so it was winter, and I'm like, okay, I need to read a snowy, wintry book and just look at the cover. So I picked it up. And I loved just that the author was able to write so well from a dog's perspective. I have 2 dogs. I love my dogs. I don't know. It was just so sweet, and I loved the ending. It was very satisfying, and I love a good satisfying ending. And it felt like a sweet classic. And yeah, so I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I was like, I'm feeling generous today. So this was a really good book, and I enjoyed it. Okay. So my favorite read from the month of December, sorry, I'm petting Rudy, is Pride and Prejudice. So I've been asking for my own copy of Pride and Prejudice because, I mean, I've read it for school twice, but it was always on like the Kindle. But I wanted to have my own copy so I could annotate it, and that I did. Let me tell you, like, I was like, oh, it's so tiny at first, but then I don't know. I like that it's small, kind of pocket sized, but like I went through and annotated, and I made this book mine. I love it so much, and I love Pride and Prejudice. And I feel like when I read it for the first time, I was like, what is this about? I can't understand this language. And I don't know if you're gonna agree with this or agree with me. Going from reading the book to watching the movie with Keira Knightley in it, you're gonna be like, you're crazy. But it helped me picture it in my mind, and I picture those characters as the ones in the book, and then going back and reading the book after watching the movie several times, like, because the book is better than the movie because there's so much more in here and it helps make sense. I think there's scenes in the book, I mean, because you can't just fit everything in a movie, but the book is better, but I love the movie because it's beautiful and it just helped paint a good picture in my mind. I haven't watched, I guess they did like a TV show of it. I haven't watched that version yet, but I know people do like it. I don't know what it's on, but I would like to watch that eventually. But yeah, so those are all my reads for December 2022. This will probably be my biggest reading month ever. I'm pretty sure that was about 13 books. I don't know how I did it. It was a Shatter Me series. It definitely helped because it was almost kind of addictive to read. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great reading month yourself. You do not have to read 13 books to have a good reading month. Even if you just read one book, don't feel pressured, because I know sometimes I can feel the pressure of like, oh, I need to be reading more, I need to be keeping up with everybody, and you know, honestly, like, if you don't have the time or the money to be able to doing all that, do not put the pressure on yourself. I really want to be going to the library more, but I feel like this pull in both directions because yes, I love having a physical book, but I also would love the option to be able to highlight it and like mark it up, and like I don't want to have to be scared of ruining someone else's book. But I've thought about getting a Kindle. So I do have a Kindle. All the dust coming off of it. I don't even know what year it is. This is a very old Kindle. I'm sure if you have one, you can tell. Okay, I don't know why it's so dusty because I promise I've touched it since. But it's like, it's different. I see like people's Kindles now and it's like all one screen and it looks all fancy and nice. Somehow though, I made the dumb decision of deactivating the account from it, but it was connected to my mom's account. So I was like, no, I want it to be connected to my account, my Amazon one. and I cannot connect it. I've watched every video, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, well, should I get my own Kindle? But I do have an iPad, so I don't want to waste money. And then I don't know if I'm gonna actually read on my Kindle, so I don't know. I'm just trying to be wise with my money because everything's so expensive. But that's why I do want to go to the library, but then I'm like, Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really just want to be making book and live content. I really would love to make some vlogs. Comment your December reads down below, please. I would love to know what you guys are reading. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!